You guys doing okay? It's getting a little crazy out there, but it's okay. We don't have to talk about it. Right now is just for fun. No stress. I know. It's important to be informed, but you don't need me for that. It would just be another opinion. What I offer over the next several minutes is just some music, some stories, some friendly company. Consider this a virtual house concert. As a matter of fact, let's get it started. I've been writing a song, and it's not done yet, but given the circumstances, I figured we could take a little exception to that old rule. My dog is sighing. It's like I've heard this too many times today. Let's see here.
There are monsters in some dark shadows, hiding unseen but not unheard. You can hear them whispering deep inside you that you should be afraid of this dark world. Alright, we're gonna have some fun with this today. Safety first. They talk about your friends and distant strangers. Their whispers chill you to the bone. But there's another voice deep inside you, telling you you're not alone. I will hold you when the night gets dark. I will see you through the hardest part. I will be there through the night, even when it doesn't feel so bright. I'm the hopeful voice inside your heart. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Follow me.
Oh, yeah, I need to switch microphones. But as I do, really important thing you need to know. Just kidding. Okay, so welcome to the living room. I figured this would be a good place to have our little house concert. I've got some lights set up. I've got the decor. I've got the dog digging in his toy box. I have no idea what he's going to do to my plants tonight. And I've got my instruments. If you can't tell, music is a pretty big part of my life. Isn't that right, Sirius? But the song I started off with, like I said, it's not done, but I figured it would be a nice way to start tonight. The overall theme of it, you could say, is, well, those little monsters just represent fear. And
well, the protagonist of the song, the one singing, is just that voice of hope or optimism. And I don't want to get too preachy, but I do believe in being positive. Have you ever looked forward to something so much that when it finally came, it was just a blur, and by the time it was over, you had no idea if it was real or not? That recently happened to me. It was like last month. I went to a solo concert for my musical hero, Chris Thile. If you don't know who he is, he's the master of the mandolin of the Punch Brothers and Nickel Creek, and he's the host of NPR's Live From Here. Well, I've seen him a couple times, but I've never got to meet him, at least in my adult life. When I was a kid, I actually met him in an elevator at IBMA. I was tiny, and he was less tiny, and my mom told me I met him. But anyway, I had not gotten the chance to meet him yet. And at this solo concert that my girlfriend Kat took me to, after the show, he had to drive to the next town because he had 2 shows night to night, and he had to drive, and I was told by a couple people, like, he's not doing any meet and greets or anything like that. And I felt kind of bad, but I also kind of like wanted to see just that chance to meet him, and I did. I went around the side to the stage entrance, and sure enough, he came right out, and I'm just like, Chris? I was nervous. I didn't want to bother him, but he just like lit up, acted like he knew me, and said, "Hey, thanks for coming," and just like gave me a hug, and I'm like, "Thank you." And we took this picture. The flash wasn't working. We were kind of in the dark. Light was behind us, and I am like trying to waste as few seconds of his as possible. And he's like, "We could go over to the." "No, it's okay. I got it." And I just like pull out my phone and like shine a light. And he's like, "Okay, great. This can be our Halloween picture. Looks like this." But he was so gracious, and I was the only one out there waiting. It didn't take him that long, but it still meant the world to me that he gave me his attention and his time. And sometimes it seems like being a little optimistic can pay off. Well, he's actually the one who inspired me to do this little house concert. He was on Instagram the other day doing a live. He's taking requests and just playing incredible music. And, well, I know a lot of people are using this opportunity to go digital, and that's cool. But maybe it's the fact that I'm obsessed with this musician, but I forgot for a minute. He had me thinking about one thing: music. It was pure bliss. And so that is why I'm doing this in the first place. It's just a little escape. And in honor of him inspiring me to do this, I thought I might play a tune of my own on the mandolin, hopefully without embarrassing myself. So here we go. I know switching mics probably seems kind of strange, but this one's really good for capturing music, and then I wanted to, look like a stand-up comedian when I'm holding a microphone. Now, I am by no means a master of the mandolin. I am a jack of all trades, master of none, musically speaking. I can play a lot of instruments a little bit. But I myself am a composer, so that works well for what I try to do. Anyway, this tune is one of mine that's a little bit more comfortable for me. I've done it in several jam circles, and yeah, without further ado, I'd like to entertain you, serenade you a little bit with Green Sky Bluegrass. I've got a path in front of me, it doesn't lead to you. I'm going where the sky is green and the grass is blue. know. But to me it's beautiful, and I can't wait to go. They say there's a waterfall at the top of Temple Hill, and a cave at the bottom where the backbeat bats dwell, where the fiddle bars fly and the conch pillars crawl, and the noon leaves turn amber when it comes time for the fall. Autumn comes with the woodwinds, and spring comes with the drum, as the lightning picks off the pickers thumb by thumb. The slurs they do slither, and staccato thorns can picture, and you can hear the rest, but you're not allowed to touch her. Bats do well. Be careful where you trod, and listen for the bell, because below bluegrass heaven you'll only find bluegrass heaven. Oh gosh, I was nervous as if he was just watching me. Well, after that, I'm gonna need a short breather, but I happen to know somebody who'd be happy to entertain you for a few. Bear with me, this is one take, keep in mind. And this is S.C. King.
Greetings, children.
He's got a great story for you. Take a listen.
So I'm gonna take y'all all the way back. When I say all the way back, this is really just, this might have been like a year or two ago, but I was alone. I was alone on a beautiful day. I think I was walking door to door to encourage people to vote. And I came upon this old red brick house. You know, and I knocked. I left a little pamphlet and I prepared to go on my way the rest of the long day. But I stopped when I heard the door click. And as it swung open, this little old woman steps out. I kid you not, she must have been 100 years old. Maybe 95. And she beckoned me to come back. And I could tell, you know when you can tell one of your elders is about to tell you a long story and you try to mentally prepare for what they're about to unload. Because for me personally, even though it can be a bit long-winded, I appreciate the knowledge passed down from my elders. And this was an older black woman, so I could not say no. So I walked back up, and we didn't even talk about voting. I mean, she took the pamphlet, but she changed the subject quickly to where I came from. She wanted to know about my life, about my mother. She asked how my mother was doing. She didn't know my mother. But as a mother herself, and as I found out, a mother of so many children, she cared about me and where I was from, and she took me back, I think, further than my mind had ever sat for any extended period of time. She told me about her childhood. She told me about growing up in a world that I couldn't imagine. Her entire story was filled with hardships, but she was smiling so big because in her story, in the midst of everything terrible that was going on, were stories about laughing and cutting up and creating mischief and merriment in her enormous family. This is the kind of thing when you think back and you're trying to say, no, don't romanticize the past. Everything was terrible back then. You want to live right now where you can get on Twitter. She didn't have any of that noise. I wouldn't want to live in that time if you paid me, but I sat there for, I kid you not, it must have been about 40 minutes. Talking to this woman, well, it was less me talking, more her imparting her spirit onto me. But I was smiling so big, I didn't want to leave. I wanted to pick up a chair and sit down as she basically gave me reasons to live. All of her children had died before her. This 90-some-odd-year-old woman who was living alone in this old red brick house was still filled with more joy than some of the peers that I see on the daily. So obviously, I couldn't leave. Because even on that day, I forget what was going on, but I was mad about something stupid. See, I can't even remember. I was upset about this thing, and it just left as she basically left sunlight on my soul. It was just one of the most peaceful moments of my life. I'm not gonna lie, I can't even remember her name. And I really hope she's still out there kicking in whatever mailman or whoever comes to her door. I mean, he probably knows, And I want to believe that this mailman doesn't just drop it and run. Maybe he wants to check in on her and see how she's doing, because no matter what's going on in his life, he knows that she's seen it all, and she still has reasons to be the sun. Even on a cloudy day, even on a rainy day, I know that whatever little critters were running around in the background of her house probably have the time of their lives. So guys, there's reasons to be sunshine. I encourage all of you to next time you come upon the elder in your life, just sit down for a second. Let them give you some of the light that they have collected, that they have absorbed over time. It is aged, beautiful light. It just might be what you need to recharge your battery. And then when you get to the point where you are that older woman coming down to chat up the guy who's handing out the vote pamphlets, that person will want to stay, and they might have a little vacancy in the light department, but you got it. You got that, and you got a little extra spare because you've been collecting it for years and years. Be good to your people. Pass it on.
Huge thanks to Stephen for sharing that story. He and I go back a little ways, doing a bunch of creative stuff, and we used to put something creative of some kind of video, piece of music, a comic, up on wonderheim.com every night at midnight. Sirius, come here. We're almost done. He and I collaborated in a bunch of projects, and well, we've become great friends because of all of the ideas that we've put together, and the ones that have happened and the ones that haven't. But
we've both been able to move forward, and a lot of exciting stuff is coming. But anyway, more about that next time. It's getting a little late. As a matter of fact, it's just a little after 11:30. So I hope you had fun, and if I have another house concert like this, you'll come, won't you?